Hi all, and thanks for watching. This is the 49th video in my Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough. In the last video, we finished up the Gallo brothers, and we're just going to get in the game and see what other side quests are available here. So let's just get started. So we do have a few activities still, and the main quest, although we don't have any more side quests at the moment. Now there are quite a few activity givers that I've seen, but the only side quest that I seem to have at the moment is this one with the executioner in Rattay. So I think I'll head down there and we'll actually get that quest. So we'll just head out here, pull up the map, and do a bit of fast traveling. So Rattay. Alright. So it's still pretty early in the day, so we just have to talk to the executioner and we can get this quest started. Now, I haven't talked to him since the last quest that I did for him, so I'm not really sure if there was any reason to talk to him after the last quest. That was the one where I convinced to stay with him rather than go with her family, as the family didn't seem very nice at the time. Let's see. Not sure which one that was. Tough Love. Yeah, that was the one that I did with Alishka. And I made her decide to actually stay with him. So we'll go and talk to him and see what this new quest is. Oh, there he is there. Okay, that'll save a bit of time.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you.
Think nothing of it. The main thing is everything worked out well.
It did, thank you. And I want you to have this. God almighty, I've got Alishka. After all these years, me, the executioner, has the woman he loves.
Oh, excellent. So we got a reward from that one.
Hey.
What's going on? The folk in town are talking about you.
They shat on me. That's what.
What? Who did?
All of them.
Wait. Tell me again from the start.
All right, if you want. They caught Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and a fellow named Harold that everyone calls Frost. They're scum who've been hunted for months. Now they've finally been caught, there's a big execution being prepared. Folk will come from miles around to watch.
Well, that's a good thing for you, isn't it?
It would be, if I was fucking doing it.
Isn't it the custom for you to do all the executions in Rattay?
It is. Not just the custom, but by bloody right. You're not being replaced, they said. This is just a loan of Gallows Hill.
They really did fuck you over.
My words exactly.
So who's doing the job?
They invited Executioner Heinz all the way from Kuttenberg. They say it's going to be a big show. Have I ever fucked up an execution? I always behead them in one blow. And when his lordship wants to drag out a hanging, I leave them kicking for minutes. If he wants it quick, they're stiff as soon as I drop them. And they push me aside like that, after all these years of service.
What can we do about it?
Nothing. His lordship's decided, and that's that.
Nothing? You think they should be allowed to get away with this?
Well, no, but
You have the right to executions in Rattay, don't you?
I most certainly do.
Then you're in the right. Don't tell me you can't think what to do about it.
The trouble is, they already paid the executioner and he's come here along with his assistants.
We can't stop the executions, unless Hines drops dead on the spot.
Probably not a good idea to say I'd kill him, seeing as this is the executioner that carries out justice, so I won't kill.
Which we don't want.
Indeed not. The best thing would be if he fucked up the executions. The famous Cuttenberg executioner can't handle the job. The mob would laugh him out of town and beg me to take over. They'd never invite him here again.
Great, so how do we go about it?
The problem is, I don't know what the sentences will be. They'll only announce them just before the executions, and then it'll be too late to do anything.
Would the bailiff know more?
Maybe, but most likely only Heinz will know the sentence. I've got an idea, though. Will you help me?
Of course.
Great. Thank you, Henry.
So where should I start?
Find out from the bailiff what their crimes are, and then have a look in the Black Chronicle at the Rat House.
It goes back before my time. You're bound to find records of some similar offenders in it. You need to find people who committed the same crimes and came from the same sort of background, noble or lowborn. That way you can find out what the appropriate punishments are.
Then come back to me, and we'll work out what to do.
I'll get moving.
And Henry?
Hmm?
They want to do the executions on my gibbet at Gallows Hill. I can hold them up for a while, but probably no more than a week.
I'll bear that in mind.
Okay. So what do we want to do here? Money for old rope. Find out the appropriate punishments from the Black Chronicle. Find out from the bailiff what the reprobates have been convicted of. Okay, you'd think that would actually be A, considering you have to talk to the bailiff first, then read up on the Black Chronicle. Alright.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk to the bailiff up here. There he is.
God save you. What can I do for you?
I hear there's going to be a big execution here.
There certainly is. It'll be a glorious event for our town. They'll be talking about it for years.
Who's for the chop?
The biggest outlaws and reprobates for miles around. Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and Frost Herald.
What did they do?
What didn't they do, more like? They caused trouble all over the country.
Okay, so I'm just going to make a note here. So Peter. Okay, let's see who Peter is.
Who's this Peter of Dorber?
A noble who lost his fortune. He's been holding up merchants for months.
That's all?
At first, but then his gang started getting bloodthirsty. They wiped out a whole squad that was hunting them. He won't walk away from this.
Okay, so he's a noble and a killer. Okay, and this Frost?
What can you tell me about Herald?
They call him Frost because he's always cool as ice, until he starts. I've seen plenty of killers and thugs in my day, but that one's got the devil in him.
Why?
They say the only thing that'll put a smile on his face is the sound of screaming and weeping. That beast kills for pleasure. When they caught him, he had a candle made from the arm of an infant. For luck, he said.
Christ.
Okay, so Frost is a killer and a torturer, I guess. He likes to torture his victims, and he takes trophies, it sounds like. Just kill for pleasure. Okay, what about this Weiss fellow?
What about Weiss?
No one actually knows where he came from, but they say the murdering started with him. He never leaves witnesses. He'd rather wipe out a whole village than take a chance.
Okay, so he's a killer and he leaves no witnesses. All right.
Thanks, Bailiff. That's all I need to know.
Farewell.
So punishments. Okay, I guess the scribe will have that. So he's through here.
God be with you, good sir.
Could I take a look at the Black Chronicle?
Indeed you cannot.
It would only take a moment, and I...
Do you have any idea how much it's worth? If I let one of you near it, next thing every yokel in the manor will be clamoring to get in here.
For your information, the bailiff gave his permission.
Ah. Well, then that's another matter.
Thanks.
Yes, and I'd take it very kindly if you didn't tell him how I spoke to you. God be with you. Wait, I'll open up for you. The Black Chronicle is right by the window.
There we go. Okay, I'm just going to kind of skim over this, but if you do want to read it, just pause the video and you can read over the notes here. So each one has a punishment for something similar in this book. Okay, so that's... Right, Jan the Miller. Okay, so they robbed a mill, and they killed all witnesses. Spent the money at a tavern, and they sold stolen goods. So put to death by hanging. Okay, so killed without witnesses. That sounds like Weiss. We'll see. Okay, the second one is Shibble. committed robbery. He stole a sword. And then he stole, under the cover of darkness, 2 plows. Okay, so this one guy knew about the thefts, but he didn't tell anyone. He didn't report it. Okay, for abetting the thieves, he shall receive 30 strokes. Okay, so not a killer, just a thief. Okay, talents. Confess that he did steal a woman's cloak. He sold it. He did rob a fellow of a horse and sell it. He stole 3 bullocks, and he stole a cloak. Okay, he did put to fire and burn down. Okay, so he burnt down a house. Okay, that doesn't sound like any. What was his punishment? For that and for arson, he'll be drowned. Okay, so none of them did arson. Okay, Cuban called the Buck, Baron of Molossus. Okay, he stole a horse. He killed a bailiff and committed robberies. He also killed a merchant and stole. Okay. As a lord and baron of Lepia, he was put to death by sword. Okay, so that's a noble. And Peter was a noble. So it sounds similar. Robbing and stealing. And he got death by sword. Okay, Martin called Stag. He robbed a merchant. Okay, and he had an accomplice. Oh, they killed 3 pregnant women in Shrewdum, or Shrewdum, and in other towns, and did cut from their fetuses. Well, that's kind of sick. So they were sick killers. That kind of sounds like Frost. Okay. They cut out their hearts, lungs, and liver and cooked them in the devil's inn and devoured them. Oh, so they were kind of like cannibals too. According to the testimony, okay, give greater boldness to their hearts and keep them long in their evil doing. Oh, that was kind of, I don't think, I'd say that's more cannibalism than something to improve them. Okay, for this they have earned death many times over. Their flesh will be ripped, their eyes burnt out, and they shall be broken on the wheel. Okay, so kind of sick killers. That could be Frost, so that's tortured, hanged, and death by sword. Okay, what do we got here? Anna. She killed her child. No, that doesn't sound like anything. On a farmhand. Okay, he robbed wayside shrines. No, that doesn't sound like it. Nothing about killing. And he had his ear cut off for it. Okay, so I think Peter, being noble, gets death by sword. Frost was kind of a sick killer, so he dies by torture in the ripping of the skin with his eyes burnt out. Then Weiss would get hanged for being a killer. So we'll go with that. And see, so tell Herman. Okay, he's just outside of town here.
with salt, caraway seeds, garlic, and more. You'll find it nowhere else.
He's just ahead of me there.
Yeah.
There he is. Just get a bit ahead of him. Okay.
I need your advice.
Did you find out what they did? And did you read the Black Chronicle?
Yes.
So tell me what you found out, and I'll see what I can come up with.
Just bear in mind, I can help you work it out, but you'll only find exactly what you need in the Ratai Black Chronicle. Every executioner has his own way of doing things, and this bastard might have different methods in mind.
Okay, so Peter, death by sword.
Peter of Dorba has many murders on his soul, but he's still a nobleman.
Okay, he'll be hanged. He's for the chop. Drowned, buried, tortured, lashes, and burning at the stake, quartered by horses. So I guess death by sword, he's for the chop. Chop his head off.
His neck is going on the block.
That makes sense. His crimes are great, but he's still a nobleman, so he gets an honorable death.
Okay, so George Weiss, he was a straight killer,
George
so
Weiss is a
hanged.
bloodthirsty bastard who left a trail of corpses behind him.
Yeah, he killed all witnesses, so hanged.
He hasn't earned an honourable death. He's for a long drop on a short rope.
A murderer deserves nothing better. That makes sense.
Frost
Yeah,
Herald
there's
is the worst
Frost.
of them all, sent by Satan himself. The things
So-
he's done would make a demon blanch.
Okay, so let's see. Tortured. No, lashes. No, he'd be tortured.
The executioner will take his time with that one. He'll be begging to die. If I read correctly, it'll start with ripping the flesh.
Aye, could be. He deserves nothing better.
So, have we got everything we need?
We've covered all the possibilities. There's nothing more we can think up.
So, what's the plan then? What about the hanging?
If the rope breaks when it's done, it's an unbelievable disgrace for the executioner. Folk see it as the will of God, and sometimes he even has to let the condemned man go.
Okay, let's see. Cut it, switch it, or shoot it. I definitely couldn't shoot it with a bow. Cutting it's pretty obvious, so let's try this.
What about switching it?
That could work. I've got an old rope here I don't use anymore. It looks fine, but it's rotten. It'll be perfect.
Great, I'll use that.
Okay, excellent. So, executioner rope. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so that sounds alright for the rope.
That'll do me.
Oh, wait a sec. Okay, beheading.
An executioner's greatest boast is to behead with one blow. That's why an executioner's sword needs to be a splendid piece of craftsmanship and sharp as a razor.
I follow you, but how can I get to the sword?
It won't be easy. The executioner's sword is one of his most valuable instruments.
Steal it?
So I'll have to steal it, dull the blade, and put it back before anyone notices.
Yes, that's probably the only way.
That'll be interesting.
Okay, so I gotta steal the sword and blunt it. I guess I'll just do that at a grinding wheel.
And how can I dull the sword? Should I hack at a stone wall?
I thought you were a blacksmith, son. It's enough to caulk up the honing. That will make much less noise.
Okay, so just dull it at a grinding stone.
That'll do me.
Okay, and the ripping of the flesh.
With ripping of the flesh, the bastard has to suffer, but survive as long as possible.
So, if Herald drops dead right at the start...
The executioner will look like a fool.
But how can I make sure it happens?
I don't know. It depends on the skill of the executioner. An experienced one starts in places where there's no threat of heavy bleeding, the sides, the chest.
And the Kuttenberg executioner is definitely experienced.
No doubt. They use a kind of special tongs, and in between the ripping, the convict's wounds are treated so he can take more.
Poison. Okay.
Maybe the tongs could be spiked with something nasty.
And you'd know what to use?
I know a little, and I might be able to get something.
That would work. Good idea, Hal.
Okay.
That'll do me. Thanks.
Okay, so switch the executioner's rope, dull the sword, and poison the flesh-ripping tongs. Just outside of town there. Alright, let's take a little trip.
Yeah!
Let's see. I can just fast travel across town here. Okay. Right, so it should be just up where the A is marked here. Just a bit past this. Oh, okay, so it's right here beside me. Oh, it's a fellow. Okay, so switch the rope. Let me see. He's in... Oh, maybe it's on the horse here. Okay, there it is. So we'll just switch that to our inventory. Oh, I'm in a private area. How close can I get? Okay, let's try and sneak up here. So there's someone there.
Who's there?
Oh, and he notices me. Maybe I'll have to come back at night. Actually, let me save at this point. Well, there's a few people there that I can see. Let's see. What's the radius of the private? I can go up to the fence. Oh, okay. So I can get pretty close. Oh, there's 4 of them and a dog. Okay. So maybe I should wait until night. Alright, I think I'll actually do this quest in 2 parts, seeing as I just quick saved at this point. I'm going to see what I can figure out here, but I'll do that in the next video. Now, I'm not really sure how long I've been, but unfortunately I don't have a lot of time today in order to play here, as I do have a few things that I have to get done also. So I'm going to come back to this and we'll continue on from this spot. I'll probably have to wait till night for them to sleep or something like that. But we'll figure it out from there. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit shorter than what I normally do, but if there are any questions and comments, please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.